Hi everyone, it's Mark, and I am back with lucky episode 13 of Path of Exile Betrayal. We are in the entryway to the Lord's Labyrinth, which is called Aspirant's Plaza. And I've already kicked the waypoint here, so we can get back here at any time we want, from our hideout or from any waypoint around the maps. We're going to go ahead and run the normal lab today. It's a gloomy day here in Indiana, and I figured that's the perfect time to run the lab. Let's see. I did do a minor change to our gear here. I upgraded our gloves. We got these veil gloves from our safe house run last episode, and I went ahead and identified them, and they have not great stats, but they do give us some strength and some armor energy shield, which is sort of where I want to go with defenses. And the other thing I did was I picked up the wrong gem because I'm stupid. I do not want cast on melee kill. I want cast when damage taken, which looks similar. So I was checking out what gems we could buy, and if I look here, that's melee kill. Cast when damage taken. That's what I want. And I can close this. Let's go ahead and throw this in here, because that will be much more useful. So when we take a certain threshold amount of damage, all the linked gems will trigger. And the only thing we have linked right now is Immortal Call, which gives us a short-term invulnerable to physical damage buff. And by short, I mean 0.4 seconds. So, you know, it's basically to avoid a two-shot kill. And this cast on melee kill is pretty much useless, so I'm just going to sell it.
May fear guide you.
And, oops, let's hit that. Throw that away. And now we can head back to Aspirant's Plaza, where we were to begin with. So we're going to run up here. We can listen to what Izaro has to say.
The just goddess presides over us all. The future of the Empire rests in her even hands.
And this is the labyrinth that was opened by Izaro back in history. So we have this activation device. We click on that, and you can see it offers 4 different labyrinths. We can only access the first one because those are the only trials we've done, and these are the trials that were showing up on those plaques. And we'll go ahead and activate this
with precision.
And before I walk in, I am going to pause for a second and open a website. Right. So the way the lab works is it's a bunch of connected areas that lead you to 3 encounters with Izaro, who is the boss of this area. And if you defeat Izaro, you get access to the Ascendancy Chamber, where you can buy your Ascendancies and also get some Labyrinth-only enchants. So I just popped open PoE Lab, which is a website that does daily update on the layout of the lab, because all the rooms in here change configuration every day. And crazy people run this every day, update their website with a map of the with a general map of the layout of the rooms, so it really helps with navigation. And I don't want to spend a ton of time in here. I don't mind running the lab, but it can be kind of tedious. So every entrance has one of these plaques, which shows where we are, and it shows the connections. So as you can see, normal lab in particular is pretty simple. It's not quite linear, but it's pretty close. So we're just looking for the exit, and based on what PoE Lab tells me, there is a Dark Shrine in here, which is always good to get. Dark Shrines will give us a buff that we can that can do everything from give us a shrine effect to giving us extra treasure keys in the Ascendancy Chamber, to giving us other random buffs. So they're always good to find. I'm not going to take a huge amount of time to search them out. Are you going to die over there or what? Let's go ahead and read this plaque.
In the impressionable youth of my reign, I was encouraged to believe in the precious nature of my imperial blood. The divine claret, as one fool of a courtier would repeat with tiresome regularity. Unfortunately, my divine claret refused to pour from one cup to another. Try as I might, with a lovely procession of young and ever dutiful wives, my noble seed simply would not sprout. Who then to choose as my worthy successor? With the candidates on hand either mediocre at best or maniacal at worst, I found myself in quite the quandary. That's when fortune took me by the hand and led me to a forgotten tome on a forgotten shelf in the quietest corner of Sarn Library. A tome entitled Ancient Traditions of Asmarian Ascendancy. The rest, one might say, is history.
So Isaro is the impotent emperor, and he used the Trial of Ascendancy as a test for his heir. Wonder how that worked out for him. So we're going to run through here. We're going to find the way forward. If we luck into the Dark Shrine, we'll go ahead and ding it and see what buffs we get.
Go with God.
I'm not really anticipating a huge amount of trouble taking care of Isaro, since we are really over leveled. This is a level 33 room, and there's one of the traps you can find in here, the deadly doors. And a lot of the traps should look familiar because you run into them in all of the trials. Except those. I don't think we see those in the trials. But we definitely see those, and let's not get killed immediately. Which I won't guarantee won't happen. Okay. So standing here, you can see on the mini-map that there's this little room to the north of us. So there is a switch which we click. It opens a secret passage. And we kill the monsters in here. Pick up some currency. And there is our mysterious Dark Shrine.
Dark influences reside in dark places.
And Isaro always says something when you get these. But there's also a little text message over here: to the worthy go the spoils, and I believe that actually gives us an extra treasure key. I could be wrong. I don't memorize those. Oh yeah, let's just run all the way across there as stupidly as possible. So now we're just looking for the exit, and we're looking to avoid all the traps, unlike previous examples of me going through here where I was walking on the traps. Maybe I need some more coffee. The layouts to the labyrinth are quasi-random, but if you run it enough, you do get a sort of general idea of how things are laid out. And this is our exit, I'm pretty sure. So if we look at the current location, you can see that we're here, and the green line indicates we're going forward. And this is the first encounter with Isaro, the skull icon. And before we go in there, I am going to go ahead and not level these gems up, because the higher you level cast when damage taken, the more damage it takes to trigger. And this gem, if you look at the level requirement, it's 38, and if you look at the level requirement on Immortal Call, it is also 38. Cast when damage taken cannot trigger a gem that has a higher requirement level than itself. So we don't want to level either of these. They're in balance right now, and will always go off. The Immortal Call will go off if we take that amount of the triggering damage.
The weary traveler draws close to the end of the path.
So we're going to go ahead and go in. Azaro, each step of Azaro has some buffs that he gets, and depending on how you fight him, the buffs can be stronger or weaker, and there are different sets of buffs. They're all random. And today he's going to get gargoyles, which give Azaro a bunch of buffs to his offense, and he is using a two-handed mace, which means don't get hit. So the room is initially empty when you go in, and
things that slumber should never be awoken.
Azaro comes up out of this hole in the ground, and we're going to set our totems up and
give up yourself.
Go ahead and kill him as quickly as possible.
Such resilience.
And we've taken him to 1/3 of his, or 2/3 of his life. So that is the trigger for him to disappear and us to proceed. So the next zone we're going in doesn't have anything of interest in it, and we're just going to run through here and find the way forward. There is a gauntlet in here, which means we may have to fight our way past a trap or two, and there are some sticky zombies in here. There's a really long poem here that I am not going to read. It's incredibly long. And there we go. We are through, and I can see already there is the other exit from this zone. So this is a pretty typical labyrinth run. There are, there are traps, there's gauntlets, there's stuff to avoid, there's monsters to kill.
When the time comes to strike, an emperor strikes without hesitation. To entertain doubt is to dance with death.
And I'm not particularly good at running the labyrinth, but we're vastly over-leveled, so we should be pretty safe at this.
An emperor is only as efficient as those he commands.
So there are all the gargoyles that he spawned last time. So he's getting the benefit of all those this time. And that's going to make it a little tougher to kill him, but we'll be fine.
You are inexhaustible. They say that 2 out of 3 isn't bad. They couldn't be more wrong.
And Azaro is now 2/3 dead, so we can continue on our way. And I suspect that we probably killed all his skeletons, the lieutenants that are the second stage boost for him, so we're probably not getting the benefit of those in the final fight. Well, he's not getting the benefit. But if you have all the boosters up and running when you fight him in the final fight, you get more treasure keys. So we are here, and we actually want to go up and then down, and that's going to get us to Azaro. That's the quickest route, I think. So we're just going to go up here and look for the exit. It should be up this direction somewhere. That looks like a puzzle there, and I'm not going to bother with the puzzles. Let's see which exit this is. This is the exit we want, but I heard something drop, so let's make sure it's not something useful. It is not. It's a 4-link wall. There is a dark shrine in here. I'm not going to go out of my way to find it, but if we run across it, I will certainly take it. It's another 4-link item that dropped. And a while back I mentioned item filter, that's what's making the noise that you keep hearing when good stuff drops. So we'll run across here. I suspect that this is going to be maybe the area that has the Dark Shrine in it. Maybe? Will we get lucky? Yes, there we go. And again, you can see on the mini-map that there's this hidden passage and a switch on the wall, and that should open a Dark Shrine. And it does.
The pursuit of power can be a grotesque affair.
Be twice blessed. I believe that gives us a second enchant. And here is the final aspirant's trial.
An aspirant can afford to be promising. An emperor must keep those promises.
Let's see what he has to say here.
The custom of the Lord's trial was upheld throughout the founding years of the Empire. Verusso's successor, Caspiro, was a low-born legionnaire, the lone survivor of a labyrinth that claimed the lives of every high-born contender, including Verusso's only son. Caspiro proved to be every bit the emperor that Verusso was. Alas, the Lord's labyrinth was corrupted by those with the vanity to consider their blood more precious than their empire. Selfish blood breeds selfish times, and the Empire paid for it with its own blood, with the Knight of 1,000 Ribbons, with that most regal of cannibals, Emperor Romira. Not anymore. I, Isaro Frecius, shall return us to justice. I shall build the greatest Lord's labyrinth in Asmerian history, and my successor shall be chosen by the goddess herself. Only when the Lord's labyrinth is drenched in selfish blood can a true leader ascend the throne.
Okay, so this is just a bit of history about the labyrinth. We missed a few plaques in the back there. There's another long poem, which I'm not going to read. Nothing against poetry, but they're just too long. I'm going to dump these items into our stash for now. And this is the final Isaro fight. So let's go ahead and take care of him, and then we can move on and get our ascendancy.
You must navigate your empire through troubled waters.
And we only have one of the lieutenants because we killed the other two, I'm pretty sure.
Strike with fidelity.
And we just killed the other lieutenant, and Isaro is about dead.
Triumphant at last.
Oh, I guess it wasn't an extra treasure key. We got some loots. Nothing particularly great there, I don't think, but we got a couple armor energy shield items, which is sort of my choice of defenses. So now we can go to the Ascendancy Chamber, which was our goal all the time. So the first thing we get in here is we have 2 treasure keys, and there are a whole bunch.
Emperor, you are worthy. Before the goddess of justice, you are worthy. Receive our blessings, embrace our gifts, and rise, Ascendant. For this is the ending that we all deserve.
So as I was saying before Isaro interrupted, those treasure keys open these treasure vaults, and they contain random loot of an appropriate level, and this area is only level 33, so we're vastly over leveled. Hopefully we'll get something good like a bunch of currency, but let's find out. We have 2 keys. we get a bit of currency, and that is going to be a chrome orb, and I'm going to open this one. And a decent pile of currency there. I'm going to leave that on the ground for a moment. The other thing we can do is we can add implicit enchant to our gloves. And all you do is you grab this skull and you apply it and trigger Word of War on kill. Doesn't really help us because to trigger that, we have to do the kill, and our totems do all our killing for us, so it's not helpful. That's the problem with most of the glove enchants in this build. They're not all that useful. And I'm just going to replace that, and we got 2 enchants because we got that Dark Shrine, remember. Word of Reflection when hit. That's not bad. That's a defensive buff. I don't recall the exact effect, but I believe it creates mirror images of us when we get hit. So let's go ahead and open the Altar of Ascendancy, and I have to remember not to walk away from my currency. So, our choices here all have a focus. The Inquisitor is more a melee focus build. The Hierophant is built for totems and for brands, and the Guardian is more a defensive melee type build. And they also deal with summons, I guess, because they get the Summoner Sentinels of Purity buffs that affect that summoning skill. So we are definitely taking the Hierophant. And
drink deeply from God's chalice, for the faithful will never find it empty.
I'm going to go ahead and ascend, and then I'm going to take a quick look at my build guide to recall which path I want to go down first. Okay, so we're going for Pursuit of Faith, and Pursuit of Faith is going to give us a lot more totem duration. It's going to give us 1 more totem, which gives us a total of 3, and an increased damage per enemy killed by totems recently, and increased attack and cast speed while you have a totem. So that's all good buffs for us because all we do is totems. And we also get this mana regen and totem placement speed buff along the way, so we'll go ahead and spend these points. And I don't know if you saw, but there were ascendancy points up here, which are different than the points on the main tree. So you can't spend these points elsewhere. The refund points, however, are global, and you can refund these points by coming back into the lab and running it and getting here again. So we'll go ahead and apply the points. We'll close that, and we are done with the lab. So normal lab is pretty much, it's pretty easy. I'm going to go ahead and clean up our mess, and let me do a quick recording time check. Yeah, we have some time left, so I will probably run through the Belly of the Beast Stage 1. It's pretty linear and fast, so let me clean up, and I will be back in a moment. We are back, and we are in the grotesque Belly of the Beast. And there's some pretty cool looking stuff in here. I'm going to zoom in for a minute. Note all the little eyeballs on the floor and on the walls, and the little tentacles that freak out when you get close. I like this place. Well, I don't really like it, but I think it's well done. I think it's an interesting setting. And it literally is the belly of the beast. So I'll leave it to your imagination to figure out which part of the belly we're running through here. And the one thing I need to do before I go any further is I need to double check which potion has heat resist. Ooh, I don't have a staunching potion. I thought I did. That's probably bad. There are monsters in here that cause bleeding, and not having a staunching potion, I'll just have to be careful and not run around too much if I get bleeding. Bleeding is a debuff that does damage, and the faster you run, the more damage it does. So basically, if you get bleeding, don't run around. We have an Arcanist Strongbox, which I'm going to open. As soon as I kill wherever those eyes are coming from. Those little floating worm things are actually spawned by another mob in here sometimes, so killing the spawner is always a good idea. Nice bit of currency. And we will continue on our way. And it looks like we're going to have a syndicate fight over there, so I'm going to go ahead and clear some space just in case it is a... well, there's the way forward. Just in case it's a caravan, it'll be a little easier to deal with if we have some open space. I'm guessing that is not going to be a caravan. I'm thinking fortification. We're pretty clear, so let's go deal with this. Grab that, and... oh, it's just an ambush. Oh, it is a caravan.
Wait! Another deal.
And 3 totems. 1.5 times the damage, plus the other buffs we picked up. See what Ailsing has to say.
Look, I know what you're really after. You're not after some lackey. That's all I am. You want the boss. I can give him to you, but not if I'm dead. How about it?
14 transportation. Yeah, sure. We'll bargain with her.
The question now, Exile, is whether or not you're foolish enough to face him down. I think you just might be.
Okay, let's move on to the next stage of the Belly of the Beast. And again, this is pretty similar to the previous, so... kill a bunch of monsters. There's definitely one of those eye spawners. Let's go ahead and open our essence. And 3 totems makes a big difference. We'll grab the superior gem. And we'll start following this path. I don't know that this is necessarily the right path, but it looks like it to me. That is all a dead end. And I see the exit ahead. So this is going to lead to a boss fight with what should be a very familiar face these days, although she's not looking her best.
You see, heretic, my god takes good care of me.
It's Piety, and this is sort of a staged fight. She went down really fast.
That god of yours.
That channel beam she does really, really hurts, so you have to avoid that at all costs.
Twice now you've baptized me in my own blood, Templar. So believe me when I tell you that I've had all the divine revelations that I can stand. When we shared our moment back in the Lunaris, part of me wishes I died at your feet as intended. The little girl within me that shies from darkness and from greatness. It was Malachi who reached out to me, who wrapped me in nightmare, made me his slave. He has shown me greatness beyond imagining, so much that I thought my mind would shatter under its weight. And although my mind remains intact, my dreams were not so fortunate. Malachi is in the beast's black core right now, harnessing all that the beast is and will be. He will destroy this world and forge it anew in the divine image of nightmare. Yet as powerful as Malachi has become, he is neither unreachable nor invulnerable. He sacrificed much to become the beast's prime servant, both in spirit and in flesh, yet 3 vital organs remain. His heart, lungs, and entrails, keepsakes of humanity lost. They will be our tickets into Malachi's private little show. Venture deeper, deep into Nightmare's abattoir. I'll follow when I'm able. You find me those organs, and I'll get us into the Black Core.
So piety turns into an ally. Let's go ahead and head deeper. And there's a crafting recipe. What do we get? Chaos damage. Not really a great value for us, but someone will use it. And we are in...
Piety, my god. I am sure you will reveal your purpose in time.
We are in the Harvest, which again is another sort of creepy looking zone and very linear. So we have our waypoint here, and we can talk to Piety again.
Before we walk this path together, it's important that you understand one thing about me. I don't regret a single thing that I've done. I set out to raise humanity up from the cloying mud of its fleshly ignorance. My mistake was not in the aspiration, but in the execution. Now I intend to correct that mistake. Really, I'm not helping you, Exile. You're helping me. So, have you found those juicy organs for me yet?
Not yet. And this is the Black Core, which we can't open until we kill all 3 Guardians. And I think this is a good place to stop the episode, because the next episode we will finish off Malachi in the Black Core after we unlock the way, and then we can move on to Act 5. We have a few quests to do. We have to find the organs, and we have to kill 3 mini-bosses to do it. So, until next time, this is Mark signing off. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, leave a like or a subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you want to hear when new videos go out. Have a great day. See you next time. Bye.